Hey y'all, it's Roger again. So in this next part of the documentary, we'll cover the additional downloadable maps made for Halo 2 following the game's release. Some of these levels are also considered classics and have been remade in later Halo games. My personal favorites are Sanctuary, Turf, and Terminal, but I think Backwash looks and sounds the coolest. Again, from a gameplay perspective, not all of these levels are that fun to play on. Some maps are too big for 16 players, while others are too dark to see anything. That being said, I think all of the levels in Halo 2 look amazing. Each map has a cool atmosphere, or invokes a sense of mystery, and makes me wish I could explore further. The downloadable maps released after Halo 2's launch also showed us some entirely new locations not seen in the base game, further expanding the scope of the Halo universe. So I'm going to briefly talk about some of the DLC maps that really stand out to me, and I'm going to give a quick history recap summarizing the creation of these extra maps.
SP rule!
Containment is a beautiful looking level. The map is set in the frozen tundra quarantine zone on Delta Halo. The library and the Sentinel wall can be seen in the background. I've never been crazy about Containment's gameplay. It has potential, but it's way too big for 16 players. This map would have been more fun against the Covenant as a campaign space. You can actually escape the boundaries of the map, boosting up this wall with a Spectre or a Banshee with busted wings. This map will always be special to me. The first Halo machinima I ever saw was called the Spartan Effect.
Hey, he's f***ing breathing. I f***ing saved his life.
I don't think that really matters anymore, sir.
What? Shut up, you dipstick. I didn't see you save any lives today.
Just take a look at this.
Cooper, I think you're just jealous because you didn't get to...
Produced by Rookie Rabbit Productions in the UK. It's a comedy about these ding-dong Spartans that get captured by some Covenant elites, similar to Red vs. Blue.
Look, dipshits, we need to get out of here. And no, not with a bloody spoon, fork, knife, or tea strainer.
Sir?
And definitely not with a f***ing spork, sir. Bollocks.
It was 2006. I was in middle school, and the Spartan Effect's crude humor inspired me to make my own machinimas. Sanctuary is by far my favorite arena map in Halo 2, probably one of my favorite multiplayer levels ever. I love this level. I really like Turf. I love the old Mombasa setting with the bridge and the space elevator in the background. It's a pretty straightforward, asymmetric map with fun encounters and lots of skilled jumps. Backwash! Blech. Aesthetically, this is probably my favorite map in Halo 2. The sickly green fog and flood gurgling in the background make for such a cool and creepy ambience. I used to play this map 1v1 with my buddy from high school. It can be really fun sneaking up on your opponent through the fog, and quite shocking when you get snuck up on. I was surprised to find that this is one of the most hated maps in Halo 2. That is until I played Team Slayer and Capture the Flag here. And yeah, this level totally sucks for anything other than free-for-all. Definitely wouldn't recommend it for more than 4 players. Shout out to Simon Fetcher for making awesome concept art for what a Backwash remake could look like. Elongation is a cool space station themed map. Very simple design. 2 parallel hallways with conveyor belts that can move the player across the map without popping up a motion tracker. Jumping on top of the crates gives easy access to the second floor. Gemini has dark Covenant vibes going on, set on High Charity from Campaign. I used to hate this level, but then I discovered a couple game types that can actually be kind of fun, like SWAT and Fiesta on this map. People love camping up here,
Myself included.
There's actually a number of hiding spots on this map. Playing with the doors can also be kind of fun.
Gemini was used as a main location in the Halo 2 machinima series, The Heretic. Written, directed, and edited by Alexander Wynn. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend watching this series. I think it's fantastic.
Dove, why did you turn away from us? Why did you betray the Covenant?
Betray the Covenant? Is that what I did?
It has funny dialogue.
Blue team has just as many confirmed kills as red team, Jack.
Of course you do, because you stop to record and catalog the event every time you fire your weapon.
Such bullshit.
Excellent cinematography, a storyline that fits almost perfectly with the official Halo storyline, and this absolute banger of a main theme song. The Heretic serves as a prequel to another Halo 2 machinima series called The Codex, which is also pretty good.
Now this is a fun map. Terminal is cool. Very interesting layout. The map has a very uneven terrain. The defender base has this like skate park courtyard out in front. There's this murderous runaway train that comes bolting down the middle, and it just kills everything, anything. Uplift. I really like this map. Yes, it is too big for 16 players, but it can still be very fun. I love running people over on this bridge when they least expect it. It's just hilarious and awesome and fun. After taking a much-needed rest, the Bungie team returned to the office and created more multiplayer levels for Halo 2. They were released as map packs in April and July of 2005. Halo 2 remained the most played game on Xbox Live for 2 years. The game was featured heavily in MLG Major League Gaming competitions throughout 2006. In anticipation for the Halo 3 multiplayer public beta and the PC port of Halo 2 for Windows Vista, Microsoft commissioned Certain Affinity, a game development studio founded by Max Hoberman in Austin, Texas, as well as internal Microsoft development team Hired Gun, to make more maps for Halo 2 in the spring of 2007.
So in this final part of the documentary, we're gonna switch gears and listen to Max Hoberman talk about the additional downloadable maps made for Halo 2 following the game's release.
There was actually no plan for what we were going to do in DLC until after we actually shipped the game. We were just so sort of overwhelmed with getting the shipping game done, including all the maps and everything, that there was just no real time to think about DLC. It's not that we didn't plan on doing DLC, like it was always part of the plan, yet we had no plans for what we were going to do. After we shipped, I remember Pete Parsons coming to me. He was a studio manager at the time. He's now CEO over at Bungie. But I remember him coming to me and him telling me, hey, we're basically starting pre-pro on Halo 3, and we have all these people, especially artists, right? A ton of environment artists. And they all had such a miserable experience working on the campaign on Halo 2. So we don't want to overload early development on Halo 3. Second of all, we really want them all to have a good experience and sort of make up for all of the pain and suffering. We actually shipped Halo 2 with just 2 environment artists. Chris Carney and Steve Cotton, who were also doubling as level designers, and me, and that was it. And then all of a sudden I had a team of like, I don't know, probably 25 people, 30 people, something like that.
We inherited the entire team. All the guys who had been on single player came over to work on multiplayer. My mandate was not to put out the absolute highest quality maps, my mandate was to make sure everyone had a good time. I kind of had to step back and not be as much of a hard ass as I might have otherwise been on the quality. We're going to have these maps, this scale, focused on these game modes, and we broke up into these smaller teams, and each team kind of picked one to run with. Containment was one that I always wanted to be a little bit more of a hard ass on. It's got potential, and the giant gate worked really well, but I think that map could have benefited from some additional modes of travel that get you around quicker. It almost had, the map was almost too big for Halo. It was almost too large for 8-on-8. It needed like 12-on-12 or something to really shine.
Wizard was an attempt to find a map that I thought was really solid for a very small number of people, for instance. So solid arena map, but also because it was 4-way symmetric with 4 bases, it was super versatile. Even early days on Halo 1, when we were internally inside Bungie, we'd play basically shoddy CTF on Wizard. And
on Wizard,
I really enjoyed it, right? Like just this extreme intensity that I just love. And it's just chaos and madness and fun and great verticality too. So I always enjoyed it. But honestly, I don't think many people inside Bungie were that big of fans of it.
I brought Warlock. That was in the DLC for Halo 2, the one map that I personally was really pushing. I didn't feel that any of our maps really gave that experience that certainly the 4-way symmetric, but that really, really tight symmetric map arena experience. I thought it was really important to kind of show off the multi-team nature of the Halo games. Some of those games are really fun when you get like 4 teams of 2. So yeah, I wanted Warlock and we pushed it through, and I was really happy with how it turned out. It's still fun. Turf was always meant to be, first and foremost, a small vehicle map. I always get grumpy when I think of Turf because I feel like what was really made was a map that was a shrine in honor of the shotgun, where the vehicle is just kind of shoved in on the side to check the box. So I never really felt like vehicles were properly integrated, and I felt like shotgun was overbalanced on the map. That certain play style, it can be really enjoyable. I certainly had some fun moments on it. Sanctuary is great. Sanctuary was definitely one of my favorites of all the DLC maps that we did. Classic, fairly small scale, symmetric, 2-sided map that just, it worked in a lot of ways. But it really kind of went back to that 2-base symmetric type design, but splitting the map down the middle, really kind of breaking the map into these 2 zones with these kind of control points. I remember playing offense, actually, funny enough, is what I think I loved most in a CTF game on this map. Because there's just so many fun ways you could kind of sneak up on the base. You go here, you can charge through the middle, go for the blitz, I guess, go over here through the rock field.
One of the DLC maps that we released after we shipped Halo 2, I remember it was Steve Cotton's map, actually. Steve Cotton was one of the environment artists that I hired on and got midway through Halo 2. We had such a small team that our environment artists doubled as level designers. So it was really his first chance to get in there and get his hands on and really get to design his own map. When we were working on this, I don't know why, but everyone used to, any map that Steve Cotton would work on would be called something to do with cotton. So this map's code name was actually Temple of Cotton.
I think it's fitting.
Until I finally had to rename it.
Backwash was just too ambitious artistically. It performed terribly. it had two problems. One was performance, and the other was it kind of broke this rule about multiplayer maps should have really good visibility, and you should be able to easy target acquisition, and the environment shouldn't get in the way of navigating and calling out targets. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It was unique and it was clever and it was beautiful map, but fell short in a couple ways. Longest was a Halo 1 map that we ended up remaking for Halo 2. So
Elongation,
it's Elongation. So I was kind of a fan of it. I liked it in its compactness. I kind of disliked it in its simplicity. I think it could have used a little bit more pathing, a few more kind of routes and corridors. So it was fun, and the fact that we got the dynamic crates floating, coming in there, conveyor belt stuff was a lot of fun. Like, how do you get a really dynamic interactive element on a tiny, tiny little map? That's probably the best example of it. So I always thought that was tons of fun. Gemini was another, it was a marathon map, but no, it didn't work at all. It was terrible. When I started at Bungie, I was a huge marathon fan. Bungie's first shooter. I'd grown up playing like LAN party marathon all through high school and college, I guess college then, and I loved it. But then when I went to work at Bungie right out of college, I found out that the maps that I loved were not the favorites at Bungie. So then later, with that map and Foundation, some of the others, some of that was me kind of nodding to what some of the old school guys at Bungie really liked, without actually being that familiar with those maps and not being huge fans of them from the marathon days. Relic was another map that was designed for one flag CTF right from the get-go, and I never really liked the complete, 180, the U-turn that you had to do, go all the way down to the end, come all the way back. In that case, you didn't get lost at least, because everything's open and you can see. So, it had its moments. There was some fun vehicle combat on the beach and whatnot, but overall, I always felt that Relic was a little bit of a one-trick pony. Another big one flag, really big, ambitious one flag CTF map. I really like Terminal. I have incredibly fond memories. The train was awesome, just that chaotic, insanity factor that comes barreling through and kind of ruin the best laid plans, right? That sort of thing. So actually, I really love that dynamic element. And I remember just the defense of the base, attacking the base and defending the base being just such this battle that just raged and raged and raged and so hard fought. And when you finally got that flag out of there, it was so rewarding. So I think that's a map that I really would have liked to have remade. The way the spawning worked on it and the kind of safe room and all that was fundamentally flawed, and we would have had to rethink that. But awesome map with a ton of potential.
Did you make any maps for Halo 2 that got cut and never saw the light of day? And if so, were any of them any good? Or did you resurrect their ideas in any other maps or projects later?
Yeah, we had a couple maps that we cut, but every one of them was cut for good reason. During the shipping days, we had probably 4 or 5 maps that got blocked out, and we ended up killing them pretty early, and it was the right call. There was one map that got cut, I think, for the wrong reasons, so to speak, and that it had a ton of potential. And that was actually when I was working on the Halo 2 Blastacular map pack, which is where we did Tombstone and Desolation.
It's the last one.
Yeah, the very last one. And that map pack was originally slated to be 3 maps, and it was 2 remakes and 1 original map. This was at Certain Affinity, right after I left Bungie. When Bungie picked a date for the Halo 3 multiplayer beta, it ended up overlapping with exactly what we were planning on for releasing the Blastacular map pack. So we had no choice but to pull the data in pretty considerably, and as a result, schedule-wise, there was no way to get the third map done. So that was one that I was really bummed, because it was, I don't actually remember what our code name was for it, but it was going to be a lot of fun. It was, I think I mentioned this earlier, it was kind of a Zanzibar-style map, so one flag CTF, lots and lots of dynamic elements, highly asymmetric. And the big dynamic element on that one, I remember, was a light bridge that you could turn on and off.
Nice, like Halo 1.
Yeah, exactly. I picked to remake Derelict, which we did as Desolation, and it was kind of interesting because I wasn't the biggest fan of Derelict from Halo 1, but when we remade it as Desolation and we changed out the way it worked and we added the super bouncy jump pads that get you up on, and we added the little back corridors with a shotgun, I actually came to love that map in sort of its remade form.
Yeah.
It kind of suited my style really nicely, so... Yeah, Desolation was fun. I think it kind of never got its fair share because right after it came out, then along came Halo 3 beta, all of that. But when we were working on it at Certain Affinity in the early days, so much fun on that map. Mostly due to the bouncy jump pads that you could just fly around like Superman. It was very cool. It was the jetpack before there was a jetpack. Hang 'em High was either an awesome, amazing map or a terrible, horrible experience, depending on whether or not you understood how powerful the pistol was.
Yeah.
If you didn't understand the pistol and you were just at the receiving end, it was a terrible experience. I think we did as good a job as anybody could have done on Tombstone, to make it look better but stay true to the original and whatnot. It's just, without the pistol on there, it's just not the same.
I agree. District and Uplift.
Yeah, and I was actually helping out with Halo 2 Vista a little bit on the side with some of their online stuff, giving them some advice and all that. I remember those maps. I remember playing on them. At the time, I just felt that they were too big. A lot of people fall into this trap, which is people think bigger is better. And hell, it happened even on the warfare stuff we were talking about for Halo 2 in some ways. And I think it's not always the case. And I know a lot of those maps they had this almost mandate. I don't remember where it came from, but that we have to do bigger because bigger is better. And I think that was the right approach. I really thought Halo 2 had shined its brightest in the kind of smaller scale arena maps, and I haven't given them a fair shake. That first experience that you have with the team-based multiplayer, PvP multiplayer game, leaves such a strong impression.
It's powerful.
And it's really powerful, and Halo 2 was that experience for so many people. Holds up so incredibly well, and that's just this testament to the fundamentals, right? Really strong fundamentals will win out any time. You can go back to any game and you go back to its most classic maps, and they're probably still really fun today. Go play Dust in Counter-Strike or something like that. So I think people forget that sometimes. It's easy to look at those, and the graphics are so, by today's standards, dated, the graphics are so dated. It's a good word for it, that it's kind of easy to discount them. But there's so much to be learned from looking at the the sort of beautiful simplicity of a lot of the design in a lot of those maps, and not just maps, but gameplay systems included, and sandbox and all that. And Halo 2 is kind of the pinnacle of those traits.
Halo 2 has had a profound impact on my life. It's inspired my art, my music, and my career path. This is a level I created while I was studying game design at school. I modeled out all the objects and foliage using 3D software. In 2017, I graduated with a degree in game art and design. To whoever is watching this video, I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun making it. Shout out to everyone on the Bungie team who made Halo 2 happen. Thank you guys so much. This is my favorite game of all time. Also, big shout out to Max Hoberman, Ryan McCaffrey, and Andy Dudynsky. They have some great questions during their interviews with Max, and for any Halo fans who haven't checked them out yet, I highly recommend listening to the full versions of the IGN Unlocked podcast and Bravo's Halo 2 Artifacts show. Both provide super interesting insights into the development of Halo, and I really enjoyed listening to them. Alright y'all, peace.
It has been acknowledged at this point that Halo 2, as you said, went through some struggles on the campaign side, was sort of redesigned in the last year, and that the game doesn't so much end as it kind of stops.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about how Halo 2 was supposed to end?
Go all the way back. The trip to Earth and the arc and all of that was supposed to be a grand reveal and a big epic ending, and that a lot of things changed, and I think Earth became more of a waypoint, on the journey.
Because that's the thing, the marketing campaign for Halo 2 was save Earth.
And the
game starts on Earth, and as the game as it does play out leads up to you fight Tartarus, and then it's okay. I'm coming back to Earth for one crazy last battle. This last level is going to be amazing, and then credits.
Yeah.